Alright, so now we're going to bring it into the engine. You get to troll me. In other words, troll is one of those creepy people that are on the internet that offers disdain and no helpful information whatsoever. They just add a stupid comment. So, troll on. One thing that I realized, because I use Blender a lot for the transferring, Blender just automatically spits it into the engine. Everything's amazing. In Maya, when you name something, you have to name it. Let's say if there's multiple actual collision models, you have to name it like this: _1, _2, _3. So I'll show you how to change it. I was gonna just make a new video, but hey, it's good to know, I guess. Good to know information, and yeah, you get to haze me every once in a while for being one of those people that make mistakes. So that's how. What you do is click, go over here, throw an underscore in. Okay, once you do that, everything functions just fine. And trust me, when I spent maybe a good 30 minutes on the actual problem, trying to figure out what the difference between Blender and Maya was, because Blender would translate it right back. It doesn't matter what you call it, it would automatically do it for you. So now that you have that, is export all. And then you can call this cave 2. Here's something that you should do is turn on smoothing groups. Okay. That's under geometry. So specific geometry smoothing groups. Okay, now when you're in the engine, just make a blank world. Nothing fancy. This is my blank new world. Go to the content browser and import cave 2. I put this in A1 cave because this one floats to the very top of the actual food chain here in the packages. Now, again, you're going to be turning this in, so I would highly suggest A1 cave, first name, last name. You can always just kind of put an underscore there. Call this cave. I'll say OK to all. And you'll see that it has no problem with collision. It doesn't say no collision model found. If I double click on it, it looks good. Yep, it's got its smoothing groups. And if I go to the show collision, you'll see how the collision works. Now, if everything worked correctly, I should be able to see all the way down it. Okay, and vice versa, I could see all the way into it. If it did fail, let's say I have an area that's cut off in the center, that's an area where you cannot walk into the cave. So what I'm going to do is plop the cave down in the world. Okay, and try to make it as big as the player just by scaling it. And I'm not going to rebuild lights. I'm just going to try to jump into the cave. Right click, play from here. Alright, now let's see if I can walk around. I think I made it too big or too small. I can walk around down here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is eliminate the ground altogether. Eliminate the companion cube that shows up in your scene. Make this technically bigger. And see what happens. Even bigger. Bigger. And I might have to see how I'm starting in the middle of a mesh. So I'm going to have to add something to here. I'm going to have to add a player start. What I'm going to do is make this up in the air a little bit. Play in editor. That way I'll jump into player start. I'll hit home to make sure this is not clipping. Okay, make it a little higher. Double check my collision mesh here. Okay, there is in fact a collision mesh on each and every surface. So I'm going to try to jump on top of the cave. So this is the debugging phase. You're not going to escape it with caves. It's just not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is shrink this all down. Try to click on the very top and say play from here. Oh, and it landed. I'm in the cave and I'm running around. Yeah, so there we go. In your face. So I don't know, it might have been too big, therefore making the collision model too big, and therefore I was clipping through. But what I should not be able to do is run outside the cave. So that's the debugging phase, importing phase, and all that good stuff. And now that we have this, we'll have to think about how we're going to transition a cave into our world. And I want to kill two birds with one stone. I want to say, well, there's another thing I have to teach you is terrain. So, in this chapter, you'll also get terrain along with caves. Let's go on to the next video. Enjoy.